Welcome to Community Legal Services of Mid-Florida's Divorce Workshop. The purpose of this video workshop is to assist you in representing yourself in the divorce process, or what we call you'll be pro se and/or self-represented. My name is Chungmi Akers, and I'm a volunteer attorney with Community Legal Services of Mid-Florida. And I will be going through a brief overview of the legal process and the necessary forms to file a divorce in the state of Florida. Divorce or dissolution of marriage in the state of Florida, like many states, is an action in court, or in some instances, we call it similar to a lawsuit. And what you're doing is you're asking the court to make a legal decision or make a legal order to resolve some issue. And in this case, you're asking the court to end the marriage. So you're asking the court to dissolve the marriage. And because divorce is a legal action, there are some legal requirements. In any courts in any state, as well as in Florida, when you want the court to make a legal actions, the court has to have some requirements before it will hear the case and or take action in the case. And one way the courts have decided that they can make that decision is that if the court has jurisdiction and or subject matter jurisdiction. So jurisdiction is basically, does the court have the power to make that action? And in the state of Florida, to dissolve a marriage, the court has to have jurisdiction over the subject matter or over the parties. And the subject matter is basically the dissolution of marriage or family law issues. And in the state of Florida, if you've been a resident of the state of Florida for 6 months, you or your spouse, the circuit court in the county that you reside has what we call subject matter jurisdiction. Obviously, you could always refute it, but at a minimum, it is assumed that if you or your spouse have been living in the state of Florida because you have become residents now, the state of Florida has jurisdiction over that. And another thing is that court has to have subject matter jurisdiction as well as jurisdiction over the parties. And just like any lawsuit, the court can't order another person to do something unless the court has jurisdiction over that person. And in the state of Florida, they could be a resident of the state of Florida for 6 months. However, if they have no notice, i.e., they're not aware that a lawsuit has been filed against them, the court cannot have jurisdiction. So you have to provide notice to the other party so that they know that this action is proceeding. And then the court can say, hey, you're on notice, so now you know that we can exercise jurisdiction over you. And the way that is done in the state of Florida is provided through process server or service of process, or if they waive any type of requirements for service, or they agree to the state of Florida court or whichever circuit court that you're filing that, okay, you have jurisdiction over me, so I'm agreeing to let this court decide for you. So those are the way that they could get notice. And we will go over that more thoroughly later on once we've gone through all the forms that are required. And we will give you some guidance as to how you could serve them and or provide notice. So another requirement in the state of Florida is that the person that is seeking the divorce, as well as the person that is responding to the divorce, has to fill out some required forms under Florida statutes. Florida Statute Chapter 61 guides or lists all the requirements to filing a divorce action in the state of Florida. And to help in that, the Florida Supreme Court has created a lot of forms that is required that includes all the information that you need. And you need to file these forms with the court so that the court knows what you're asking. And in a regular lawsuit, let's say you're suing your neighbor because he damaged your gate or your property when the tree fell on it. So you're suing this person. You have to file a lawsuit saying, hey, this is what I want, and I want the court to order that. Similarly, if you're seeking a divorce, you're saying, court, this is what happened in our marriage, and I want the court to dissolve it, and this is what I want. And in the other case, you might seeking a monetary damage, or you want the court to order the other party to fix it. In a divorce action, where you're asking is, court, please dissolve the marriage. And 1, I want to end the marriage where I'm a single again. 2 is we have property we have to divide. If you have no property, that makes it easier. You're like, all I want is a divorce. There's nothing else to do. If you have children, you want the court to be the one, or the court to decide what type of time sharing you're going to have, what type of visitation, what type of how you're going to do parental responsibility, as well as if there's going to be child support that you need the court to order. It's great that you might agree to it without having a court order to it. However, without a court order, it's very difficult to enforce. So that's why you need this court order in terms of time sharing and or visitation, as well as child support. Similarly, you could also ask for alimony if you've been married for a certain period of time and you need the financial assistance of your soon-to-be ex, then you want the court to order it. If they're willing to pay, great. But you need that court order if that person stops paying, and you need to have it enforced. So that's why it's so important that you outline everything that you're asking the court to do, so that the court could order it for the future. If you never use that court order, great, but it's there for you to assist you. So that's why you need all these forms, unfortunately, and you have to file it with the court to begin the action. So we have, or the Community Legal Services has provided all the forms that are required, and it's on the Community Legal Services website. And I will go over it in a minute. These forms are all the forms that are required under Florida statutes, and they're the official forms that the Florida Supreme Court has done. So it's available for you to use. And as you can see, you will see all the forms, and it's all based on your specific need. There's also forms that you could obtain through the county court. You could ask the clerk's office for if they have a packet of all the forms. However, you may be charged some fee for their copies. So just be aware that they won't provide it for you free, but Community Legal Services has it available for you to download and print for free. And in some instances, they might email you forms, etc. So it's based on the specific situation you're in. Another resource is the Florida Courts website, which will provide all the forms that we have. However, it's not divided into packets. So, you have to get the individual forms that you need. All right, so I am going to show you where you can find these forms. There you go. And this is the Community Legal Services website. And the website is www.clsmf.org. And this is our general website for the legal services, and it has all the different areas they could assist you in. The one we're looking at is the divorce and children. If you click on that, it also lists different areas of the marriage that you could do. It shows you, provides you a little guidance. And what we're going to go is to self-file for divorce. If you click on that, on the right-hand side is all the forms you need. And it's divided by different types of packet. You have packet 1, packet 2, packet 3, packet 4, and all the remainder is all the forms you need for a process server. And again, process service, I apologize. We're going to go over that later. So if you go through each of the sections, it will provide you information on each section, and each section has videos for you to review. So if you have any questions, you could follow the video. And in the end, it talks to you about how to serve the form. Another resource, as I mentioned, is the family law forms through the Florida Courts website. These are all the forms that are available, and the website is called www.flcourts.gov. And if we go to the main page, this is the page that you will see when you come to it. And if you go right there, towards the bottom is all the family law forms. And if you click on that, you will see all the forms listed. They're by numbers, and there's those numbers are assigned by the Florida courts, or the Florida Rules of Civil Procedure, or Florida Rules of Family Law Procedure. But you could always search for the form if you click on here if you want a specific form, like the petition. And these are all the petitions or forms that are available to you. One thing good about these forms is you could open them and they're self-fillable. So you could fill in the information so that you don't have to handwrite it. We're going to go through all the instructions there. See, you could fill out the circuit, name, etc., so that you don't have to handwrite it. If you prefer to have it typed in, it's up to you. So those are the forms that are available on the Florida Courts website. And you could download all of them. You could download it in PDF format or the Word format. So they have provided some options for you to use the forms. So those are two resources that we have that we could use. And as I mentioned previously, that we're going to be going over more thoroughly based on each individual sections that you have and or packets that you need. So thank you for your time, and we will see you later.